Good. Okay, Boker Tov, everybody. Welcome. We have a lot on our program today. There'll be time for schmoozing for sure. Please help yourself to the food. Again, coffee in the back. No party would be complete without a goodie bag, so way in the back there is a goodie bag for Rosh Hashanah. Please help yourself to one of them. So thank you for being here. Thank you for taking time out of your routine to gather with old friends and new ones. My hope is that this annual September event becomes part of your regular routine. Being that we just marked the 24th anniversary of September 11th, let us take a moment to remember friends, relatives, perhaps coworkers who lost their lives on that day. And let us also pause to remember all the hostages who were killed, all the hostages in Gaza who might still be alive, and the over 900 members of the IDF who have died in this war. We'll take a moment to remember. So today's program is before you on the table. I'll just focus for a moment on the last part of the program, and that is our Habonim Award ceremony. This award is given to individuals from different communities represented here. I hope that you're enjoying breakfast now. I invite you to look around this room, not only the people sitting right next to you, people who you know, but at other people who are here, some for the first time in the Federation building, some for the 100th time in the Federation building. This morning we have people from Danbury to Southbury to Waterbury, from Bethel to Newtown to Oakville, from Washington Depot to Brookfield to New Milford. Today there are 16 towns represented here, all part of the Jewish Federation of Western Connecticut. Last year when I stood before you, I was kind of the new kid on the block. Okay, if you're thinking, I'm not a kid, I wasn't then, I'm not now, but you know what I mean. Since then, I have had the privilege of meeting many of you one-on-one, in the cafe, in a restaurant, at Federation events, in study, and around meals that you hosted. You have shared with me your Jewish stories, your unique connections with Judaism and with our Federation. Some of you have been connected to JFED for generations. Others are just beginning their journey with us. That invitation to connect, which I extended last year, remains open today, tomorrow, and always. We truly span different types of Jews here in the room, some who call their house of worship the temple. Others call their house of worship their synagogue, and others yet call their house of worship shul. Again, the program is before you. We will now continue with words of Torah shared by Rabbi Eric Polikoff of B'nai Israel here in Southbury.
Friends, good morning. Picture this scene at a high holiday service. The rabbi bows low and intones, "O God, before you I'm nothing." The cantor bows low and sings, "O God, before you I'm nothing." Next, Chaim Yankel jumps out into the aisle and shouts, "O God, before you I'm nothing." The cantor whispers to the rabbi, Look who thinks he's nothing. Not a bad joke, but an outlook utterly antithetical to this week's Torah portion. The portion commences, Atem nitzavim hayom kulchem. You, all of you, stand this day, everyone, from the tribal heads to the woodchopper and the water drawer. The message of the passage is that status is irrelevant. The Jewish entire nation, all of us, participate in a brit, a covenant between God and the people Israel. The text is inclusive. It's humility that's prized. Sound familiar? That was likewise the vision of Bert and Sylvia Albert, Zichronam Livracha, and it bespeaks the award given in their name. As their rabbi, and given my long tenure here, I knew them well. Here's a telling example. During a last hospitalization, his family walked into Bert's room to find him deeply engaged with the janitor cleaning his room. Bert had thanked the janitor, and the two of them were discussing the man's family. The lesson, all are to be valued. For her part, some years ago, Sylvia reluctantly acquiesced to having our synagogue honor her and Bert. She didn't want it or expect it. She certainly didn't demand it. Bert and Sylvia primarily saw themselves as bearers of the tradition, going back to that very ancient scene described in this week's portion. For them, supporting Jewish life and nurturing it for their descendants was reward enough. Similarly, today's recipients contribute to the institutions, definitely the ones I know, out of sincere conviction, not the craving for recognition. On Yom Kippur, we will encounter the very same Torah reading, Atem Nitzavim. On the holiest of days, we reavow that all of us, without exception, have an important role to play in the narrative of Jewish life. As such, may the coming of the days of awe and the work of this federation and its constituent organizations further inspire us to build a community where truly each of us in all our diversity feels like a somebody and is appreciated as such. Ken Yehi Ratzon, be this God's will.
Thank you, Rabbi Polikoff. So we now come to part one of today's event, and that is the annual meeting of the Jewish Federation of Western Connecticut. And I now say the meeting has begun. And we have a few business pieces to take care of. The first is the proposed slate, which is on the yellow piece of paper at everybody's table. There should be a few copies of the slate. If you have been involved with Federation, even the littlest amount, I hope you recognize all these names. So President in the proposed slate is Pauline Zimmerman. Our first Vice President is Roy Walzer. Our Treasurer is Matt Megida. Our Directors are Eric Albert, Rachel Albert, Chaim Gewurzman, who unfortunately is not able to be here today because he's going through some advanced level training, and Lisa Miller. So I think I could first call for not a vote, but a proposal to affirm this slate. Would anyone like to affirm this? Thank you. Make a motion to, thank you. Would anyone like to second that motion? Thank you. Any discussion? No discussion. That means you all like these people, which I do too, but you should meet them one day because they really put in an inordinate number of hours to make this federation what it is. So then I'll call for a vote. Do I have a... Sharon, do you want to... Great. Anyone to second that? Can we raise your hands? Everyone who is here by virtue of registering for today's event is a member of the Jewish Federation of Western Connecticut. So the vote is for this proposed slate, which is on the yellow piece of paper. Those who say yay, please raise your hands. Those who say no, please lower them. Marion, I assume your hand is down. Yeah, okay. And those who would like to abstain? Great. So thank you for that. And we now have our officers for the upcoming year. If anybody's interested in participating in a role of leadership, please speak to someone from the board or speak to me after today. One of the great things that our federation is blessed to be able to do is to award allocations to various different agencies, and Roy Walzer is the chair of that Grants and Allocations Committee. Roy will give his report.
How's that? Is that okay? Thank you all for coming. This is a great turnout. We have a very full agenda, so I won't take a lot of time, but I wanted to speak just briefly about the grants program. We are very fortunate, as Paul said, to be able to make grants to nonprofit agencies both here and overseas, usually Israel, and I'd like to tell you a little bit about that. This past year, we made grants of over $355,000 spread amongst the agencies here in our catchment area and in Israel. Some of the priorities that the board has established and that we review each year, both for local grants but also for Israel, involve the following categories: food insecurity, homelessness, domestic violence, youth support services, medical support, Jewish education here and Jewish education and study in Israel, Jewish camperships, college scholarships, youth support in both Israel and here, Hillel, domestic violence, and arts programs. That's a wide selection. We look at applications 5 or 6 times a year, and follow our budget based on the parameters set by the board and the committee. We're able to make those grants because over the years the endowment has grown through the generosity both on an ongoing basis and through planned giving, and we're very fortunate to be able to do that. In the endowment there are set funds that are allocated to certain projects and priorities, and then there's a section that's unrestricted, and we use both of them. I wanted to thank the professional staff that help a very active committee get its work done. Pam Perkins does the administration, collation, organization of the grants. Jose Ruiz helps us with financial control and the distribution of the funds. Paul Resnick, of course, is a full participant as executive director. And the committee, which I'm fortunate to head, is a very active one. It's got great ideas. There's always a new innovation or a different way to look at a particular grant, and we're always looking to expand our reach. On your tables, there's a summary sheet which touches on some of the items that I've mentioned, and since you weren't all taking notes, that'll be helpful when you go to review what's happening. I think that's it. Thank you.
So the sheet that Roy was referring to is salmon color. It is a pretty impressive list of who we support. To get started, I want to remind everyone that we have a workshop after this meeting called Encountering Active Threat Training, or CAT, that Michael Chambron, who I'll talk about in a minute, will be giving about 15 minutes or so after this meeting is adjourned. I would also like to remind people that our next Federation event is the commemoration of October 7th. It will be held on October 12th. There's a flyer on the tables. I have gotten accustomed to the fact that there's a tradition of signing up late to events. Somebody in this room, I won't say who, signed up at 3:19 this morning. So you get the award for the latest person to sign up. And a number of people signing up last night as well. It's great to see all of you here. For the October 12th event, I encourage you to come. We're showing an incredibly powerful film called October 8th, which is about anti-Semitism and what happened on college campuses mostly after October 7th of a few years ago. It's a great event. It's geared for anybody, I'm going to say, from middle school and up. So it's both an honor and a privilege to share some words with you. This gathering is not just a time to reflect on the year past. It's a moment to celebrate what we've built together and to envision the path ahead. Over the past year, my first year here, our Federation has embodied its mission with dedication and purpose. We've raised critical funds to support our neighbors, both those who are not members of the tribe and those who are, to support Jewish life right here in our community, across Connecticut, and in the state of Israel. We responded to the storms in Texas, to the shooting of 2 Jews at the Israeli embassy in Washington, and the wildfires in LA, just to name a few. We gave additional funds to our partners in Israel after the Iran war. Your support and generosity has enabled us to do so. Working alongside synagogues and other partner organizations, we ensure that Jewish life in our region remains vibrant, inclusive, and welcoming. We continue to be the convener, the table where all expressions of Jewish life come together. We even started a quarterly gathering of clergy in our region for the first time as an outgrowth of that envisioning. And in challenging times, nationally and globally, we answered the call. We stood in solidarity with communities under threat. We are part of something larger, and a unified voice makes an impact. We created the Listening and Learning Tour 1.0 back last summer. Shalom Space recently to engage with our constituents, no matter where they are. There were meaningful events around October 7th commemoration and Yom HaShoah. We also financially support the Secure Community Network, SCN, and our go-to person, Michael Chambron, who's standing in the back, who deserves a round of applause. No event happens that's a Federation event without his advice on how to make it a secure one. Every Jewish partner we have has benefited from his on-site training and security assessments. We are a safer community of Jews because of this. And none of this would be possible without extraordinary people behind the scenes. To our board of directors, a hakarat hatov, a shout out. Your wisdom, stewardship, and willingness to roll up your sleeves all have been essential. And to the team of Pam Perkins, Lev Nathan Kropsky, Candice Gloria, and Jose Ruiz, your hard work, your creativity and devotion, and are the heart and hands of this Federation. And to our LLC friends, Maria Cruz, Mark Grickas, and Julio Nazario, thank you. I am deeply grateful to each of you. So Rabbi Polikoff referred to this week's Torah portion, Nitzavim, which is usually together with Vayelech. It's actually one of my bar mitzvah portions. It says, Atem Nitzavim Hayom. You stand this day, all of you, before the eternal your God, to enter into the covenant of the eternal your God, which the eternal is making with you. This verse teaches that our covenant is not individual, but collective. Each of us is bound to one another through shared responsibility and shared destiny as Jews. That is the heart of the Federation. We come with different perspectives, different backgrounds, and different stories, but we stand together for the Jewish future. So as we look into the year ahead, and we begin the new year of 5786 in just 2 weeks, folks, the challenges will certainly persist, but so will our resolve. I invite you to get more involved. We need you. Together, we will continue to raise funds, deepen partnerships, live our Jewish values, and ensure that Jewish life thrives. May we all go from strength to strength. Thank you. So one of those hardworking people on our board is Lisa Miller, who will introduce our speaker.
Rabbi Menachem Creditor serves as scholar in residence at UJA Federation, New York, and is the founder of Rabbis Against Gun Violence. Rabbi Creditor has authored and edited many books, including A Rabbi's Heart and After October 7th essays. With millions of views of his daily Torah videos and essays, his leadership has helped shape national conversations of gun violence prevention, LGBTQ inclusion, Zionism, interfaith organizing, and Jewish diversity. Rabbi Creditor's music, including the well-known song Olam Chesed Yaveh, is sung in communities around the world. He is a senior lecturer at the Academy for Jewish Religion and speaks widely about the role of faith in building a more compassionate world. He and his wife, Neshama Karlbach, live in New York, where they are raising their 5 children. Without further ado, Rabbi Creditor.
Hayom te'amtzenu hayom tevarchenu hayom tegadleinu amen. Hayom te'amtzenu hayom tevarchenu hayom Tegadleinu, amen.
Today, make us courageous. Today, may we be blessed. Today, may we be reminded to be our full size in the world. You might not know those words because they happen at the end of services on Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur. So if I did one thing, it's to tell you, stick around, go to shul, stay until the very end, and you'll be glad. And the people who were going to be there already will be really glad you stuck around too. To begin with Hakarat Tov, with gratitude, which is actually the theme of what I'm going to be sharing, I wanted to say, and I know that you know, how blessed you are to have Rabbi Paul Resnick
at the helm professionally of the work that you do, among the many things that are not listed on his resume, but stand him in incredible good stead with people like me, is that when people like me were 13, he gave us a second chance. As someone who was a camper at Ramah Berkshires, I needed that second chance. And so I recognize my teacher and now my friend for making sure that I could see more in myself than my 13-year-old self was able. We are in a moment where gratitude is incredibly important, but in order to understand exactly why, we should take a second and say, what does that even mean? What is gratitude, especially from a Jewish standpoint? And as we begin that conversation, how could we possibly say anything before acknowledging how hard gratitude can be on day 709 since October 7th? And in a world like ours, where this country is roiled by so much chaos, and our homeland is roiled not only from external threats, from internal divisions. Right before October 7th, Yossi Klein Halevi, a dear teacher of mine, an incredible writer that I hope you're all aware of, before October 7th were 10 months of protests against the government's attempt to reform the judicial system in Israel. Whatever the merits, whatever the problems were, it showed real dissension in Israeli society. So Yossi said, on October 6th, we were at each other's throats, but on October 8th, we were on each other's shoulders. For a while, that was true. We need that to be true for much longer, and not only in reaction to external hurt. And so I name that context not to bring you down, and you didn't need me to recite the headlines. But that's the world that we live in, and in order to understand the importance of gratitude, it's really important for us to be grounded in the moment. How could our prayers this coming Yamim Noraim, this coming high holiday season, how could they be serious if they aren't real? Rabbi Abraham Joshua Heschel famously said, if prayer is to be real, it has to be somewhat subversive. It has to be trying to change the world, to ask God to be involved in changing the world. If you're the kind of person who prays and isn't sure about God, the God within helping you to be the agent of that positive change, it all works in the same direction. So let's focus on gratitude for a moment, because of all the ways I believe we can get to a place of making deeper impact in the world for the sake of Am Yisrael and for the sake of the world itself, gratitude helps. Psychologists even suggest that character education largely fails. When we try to cultivate certain aspects of our character, changing at a certain point is hard. We become hard-baked after adolescence. Change is hard as we get older. But there's one facet of our character that we can influence through practice, which is gratitude. You can become more grateful. And of all the Jewish practices I cherish, and I cherish all of them, is waking up in the morning, even and especially when I don't feel like it, which is some mornings, and saying what I'm supposed to say, which is Modeh ani lefanecha. I am so grateful to you, my Creator. And that tells you one thing about gratitude. It's not transactional. I didn't earn this day. None of us did. We don't earn our days. We're granted our days. We ask for more days. We try to batter open the gates of heaven until the very last second of Ne'ilah, the end of Yom Kippur. And then tradition tells us that the gates of tshuva, the gates of repentance, stay open until Hoshana Rabbah, days later. But the truth is, we are not the people that believes that repentance is only possible on scheduled days. I'm so grateful about that. What did we do to earn that? And the moment that we become even more bearing about that, you might know the Barbra Streisand melody, you might know the fish cover, but you also might know it from the Machzor. Avinu Malkeinu. Just one of those moments, and when Yom Kippur is on Shabbat, it's such an absence. But Avinu Malkeinu, we end with a song, at least many communities do, and it says, Chonenu va'anenu, God grace us and answer us. Ki ein banu ma'asim, because we have no deeds to show for ourselves. If the world and its blessings were transactional, we wouldn't say that. If we believed we were getting what was coming to us because of the actual accounting of our deeds, what would that prayer mean? If we were expecting justice for our own failures, that would be a very different spiritual posture. What we say instead is, I've got nothing to show for myself, but God loved me anyway. That's gratitude. Gratitude is great. Gratitude means receiving more than you could possibly ever think you deserve and saying thank you. That is the essential business of the Jewish community. Federations throughout their history have made sure never to allow Jewish values to become transactional. You do not help take care of the community in Afula because of what Afula can do for you. It's our obligation to take care of the world. We don't help survivors of domestic violence because of what they will do for us. No, that's our role. We're here to do that work. And because of cultivating gratitude every morning, this incredible Jewish value of hakarat hatov, seeing the good and saying the good, we're practicing it all the time. Every morning we get up and we say thank you. I mean, I hope you do not take for granted how gorgeous your physical world is. I work in New York City. I like what I do. It doesn't look like this. I don't work near the natural world. I can't praise the Creator for the beautiful horses and cows and trees. I can go to Central Park, it's not the same. And the kind of care that you show your sacred homes, and please God, how you will continue to share those sacred homes. You have so much to be grateful for. And it's so important to be grateful because I could, instead of introducing all of these thoughts the way that I have, point to how hard the world has been. You walked in these doors. We all know these faces. When I walk into my office, I see Shiri and Ariel and Kfir and Oded Lifshitz. That's who I see. I'm sure you do too. There are too many faces and names for us to name. I don't want to leave anybody out. Those are the four that I always say first. Gratitude helps me live forward through the real moments that include those precious faces and souls that we lost, and through the incredibly complicated moment of our 48 beloveds who aren't yet home. Gratitude is in our texts, it is in our davening, it is in our hearts. I hope it's part of our personal practice. It's not only an attitude, it's a discipline. Brene Brown and other leading thinkers and authors point to gratitude as the way to get forward in time, healthily. And think about the years, just going back 5.5 years. It's been incessant to all the leaders, volunteer and professional, and specifically a shout out to the clergy in the room. The kind of lifting that we've all had to do, I'd say to parents, to teachers, to all of us. There was no relief from the pandemic. The racial injustice that came to a head and really didn't go anywhere, the invasion of Ukraine, the attack at the Capitol, the attack on our homeland, the attacks on campus. So let's talk about how important gratitude is and where it's shown up. So just 4 very, very short moments in Jewish text where gratitude comes forward. One of them comes in the aftermath of loss. You might know the tradition. It's not in the Torah, but it's related to the Torah, that when Miriam, the prophetess, dies, suddenly we don't have water. It's a juxtaposition of text. It's not explicit, But when she dies, then there isn't water. And the rabbis believe, some of you might have this at your Pesach tables, that a magic well, a miraculous well of water followed Miriam everywhere that she went. And when she died, suddenly the people knew what she had been granting them. And of course, that leads to a very Jewish perspective, which is kvetching. But it shows that we have an obligation that sometimes we learn too late to show our gratitude before it's too late. We can continue showing our gratitude after loss. But why wait? There's a beautiful, beautiful re-understanding of when Moshe Rabbeinu, stands with God in advance of all of the plagues. And the first plagues are going to involve the Yeor, the Nile. And according to tradition, again, not Torah, but about the Torah, Moshe didn't want to hurt the water because the water saved him. That's gratitude in a different kind of way. I recognize the good. I mean, I'm looking at Rabbi Resnick, who, no exaggeration. Thank you. When we pay it forward and we recognize it, not only do we have more strength to face whatever comes next, if we are able to do it in the presence of the source of that blessing, what a gift to return. They didn't do it for the acknowledgement. But isn't it nice to say thank you? Hold the door for somebody anyway. But isn't it nice when they say thank you? Doesn't it feel so good? There's another really interesting story. This is straight from the Talmud. There's a character who you probably have never heard of named Dama ben Natina. Right? Some of you might know the story. Dama ben Natina heard about a sale that he could make from a precious jewel that was in his family's possession. It would take care of college tuitions for generations to come, let's say. This is the ancient world. No college tuitions. That was a joke. I have 3 kids in college. It's no joke. But the problem is that the jewel that he would have to sell in order to get that income was under the pillow where his father's head was resting. His father was sleeping. And so the Talmud says he didn't disturb his father. There are moments where caring for our most vulnerable ones, including older members of our community, costs us something. Isn't it beautiful to show respect like that? It's a different way of showing hakarat hatov. It's a different way of showing gratitude, because one day, if we're lucky, we'll be on the receiving end of that care. I see this all the time in my work at Federation, that we actually take turns being the donors and the recipients of the very same services. It is often just a matter of time and circumstance. Right now I'm doing the speaking, and I hope it's not going to be the case. It could be the case that I will need the kind of commitments in the world that federations uniquely bring us together to show. Combined federated giving, it might have gone out of fashion in other parts of the world, but the impact is profound, much more than we'd be able to do individually. Israel, it's no exaggeration, Israel is only doing as well as it is physically and spiritually because of the way the American Jewish community showed up right after October 7th. And in some communities, even on October 7th. Nobody else moved that fast. Litzarenu hagadol, even the Israeli government didn't move as fast as the American Jewish Federation system did. The kind of organization that we created on a grassroots level for communities in the South, communities in the North, and mobilizers in Tel Aviv and Jerusalem and everywhere in between was only possible because of the kind of gratitude, attitude, and discipline that we have. The final one, the final vignette, is a beautiful one. There's a tradition that when David HaMelech, when King David, who was, among other things, a fine musician, when he went to sleep, there was a harp right above his bed. And again, according to tradition, this is in the Talmud, the harp would play itself. And he would wake up through the night with praise on his lips. Again, as a parent of 5, it's not how I wake up in the middle of the night every time. But I'm so lucky to have my sleep disturbed because my children are growing up and I can help. So I don't sleep so much. I'm sure you don't either. The world is on fire. We don't sleep so much. Especially those who tend to the community, we don't sleep so much at all. But that's another way of learning from the model of God. Hinei lo yanum velo yishan. God neither slumbers nor sleeps. Whatever your theology, isn't that a phenomenal way to think about acting in the world? Exhaustion is for another moment. We should take good care of ourselves. Gratitude will remind us to take care of ourselves, because only by showing gratitude, atzmi, personal gratitude, going for a walk, having a good conversation, checking in on a friend, doing those things too, allow us to channel forward our best intentions in the world. Otherwise, how could we be here to be sustained? I want to share with you 2 vignettes, not because they're the only last things to say, but because as we go into the Chagim, and we pray for the world to be reborn, and we re-enter the Holy of Holies, scared that we might get it wrong. And then we build temporary structures that could be blown over by a strong gust, and we ask God to make that a shelter of peace for us, knowing that's all we get in this lifetime. And then Simchat Torah, especially for us, especially these years, Simchat Torah. So I want to give you, the first 2 are heavy and deep, and the second 2, while heavy, are a little bit lighter. So I'm just letting you know. There was a question asked in 1973 around the American Jewish community. Should we celebrate Simchat Torah? And why did that question come up? Because Simchat Torah was just a week after the Yom Kippur War, which anyone who lived through it, anyone who has witnessed or anyone who's read the history, knows that those Jews alive right then, first of all, not only were shocked by our vulnerability, but used the language of a second Shoah. So rabbis asked, should we dance with the Torah? Should we celebrate? I know this because Elie Wiesel, Zichrono Livracha, wrote a very important essay called Against Despair. He happened to deliver it at a Federation dinner in December of 1973, so let that be encouragement to you all. One day someone will talk about this meal, this moment, and say, oh look, they showed up again, right? We're not Elie Wiesel, but we're us, so that's not bad. And here were his answers. This is where it gets a little bit heavier. He says, I remember 2 vignettes which told all of us that the answer had to be yes, we have to dance. And again, we have to dance. Just imagine, in my mind's eye, since preparing these thoughts, I see Elie Wiesel standing with the dancers of Nova. They're saying that we will dance again. They're both saying it in their own ways. A commitment through time. So he says the first one is on a train to the camps. And there was a rabbi who said, have you forgotten today is Simchat Torah? This is in Elie Wiesel's recollection. He says, don't you know what we're supposed to do on Simchat Torah? And there was no room, but someone had smuggled in a little Sefer Torah onto the train, onto the boxcar. They passed it over to the rabbi, and Elie Wiesel describes that they swayed. They couldn't dance, they couldn't really move, but never before had there been such fervor. And the second vignette he shares is in the kingdom of darkness, as he called it, Auschwitz, where there was no Sefer Torah, but it was Simchat Torah. He said, and an old man, he said, was he really old? No one knows how old anyone is anymore. That's how he said it. So a young child who was so old, and asked the child, do you remember what you learned in Cheder? In Hebrew school and yeshiva, do you remember what you learned? He says, sure, I do. And the older man says, you remember Shema Yisrael? And the child says, I remember Shema and so much more. And the old man says, Shema will do. and he picked up the child and danced with the child as if the child were the Torah itself. He said, that's why I know we have to dance. And for us, third-hand recipients, God bless you, third-hand recipients of the story, to be so grateful that it was paid forward, that we are able to learn from that story so that it can inform our feet. I'm not really the dancing type, but having read that essay and feeling my soul both crumble and be rebuilt by it, I've been dancing. In ways that might be invisible to the people around me, but I've been dancing. Because I'm not allowed not to. And why? I mean, let me just say it. Just talking to us Jews for a second. And our friends, please God, should celebrate with us, but this is such a tribal thing to say. In our past, during exile, so much of our experience was defined by somebody else. I'm not exactly quoting, but I'm channeling how Elie Wiesel moves forward in that talk. He said, I don't want anyone to tell us when to be happy or when to mourn. We do that as free Jews with full dignity. It's what Zionism was all about, reclaiming the right to tell our own story. It's why it hurts so much. But it's what we have to reclaim. So I know I just went deep and maybe a little bit dark, but remember our theme is gratitude. Look at all those upon whose shoulders we stand. Not the sadness of the story, though of course it's there. And not the sadness of this moment, though of course it's here. Look at the good work we get to do in the world. I mean, I'm looking at all of you, you're looking at me. I have a better deal. We're beautiful. Just take a second and look, really, I encourage you, look around the room for a second. We're not all the same kind of Jew, but we all showed up, we all care. That's gorgeous. We say in tradition, Berov ha'am hadrat melech, when more of us show up, that's glory to God. Just for showing up. And it's not a given that we would be here to show up, is it? What a profound gift it is to be alive as a Jew. I want to say it again. I don't think I said this enough before the 7th. I have learned to say this to myself, to my children, and to anybody else. What a profound gift it is to be alive and aware and grateful as a Jew. The world is not reminding our people how beautiful we are. But we are beautiful, and we should remind ourselves of that. Not let someone else tell us our story. So I'll tell you 2 short stories with which I'll close. One of them you might have seen. Again, it doesn't come from the lightest of environments, but just 6 days ago at the remote junction in Jerusalem, there was a shooting. You might have seen the dash cam footage. It was on a lot of social media, a lot of news outlets had it. But because of the vantage point, you could see many things very clearly, and it should never have happened, and it happened, and we lost people. We lost sisters and brothers. The person who stopped the terrorist was a Haredi enlisted person in Sal, part of the Hashmona'i brigade. Thank God for his heroism. Thank God for attempts to bring our people together in defense of our people. But what you see if you watch the footage, and I'm not telling you to go look, this is not a gratuitous thing. The crowd is running from what's happening. You can see that. Right in front of the camera is a taxi. And you see the crowd running, and the driver comes out of the taxi. And you expect, as anyone would, that they would join the crowd and just run. But he doesn't. He calmly walks around the back of the cab, opens the back door. As he opens the back door, the window right above his head, just one step away, is blown out by a bullet. He doesn't flinch. He opens the door, and he helps an elderly passenger who was taking a ride with him in his cab and walks her very gently and very slowly to shelter. Ma yafa Yerushatenu. What incredible heritage we have. We shouldn't be in moments like those, but even when we're in moments like those, look how beautiful we are. We take care of each other. Last story. So my name is Menachem. I don't have an English name, never did. That's caused me some problems in the United States. Not the hardest of problems, but no one can say my name. I mean, you can say my name, but coffee places can't say my name. So I did it for a very short period of time just because I was tired of respelling my name and clarifying. The best misheard spelling I ever got was mensch on my coffee. They didn't even know what they were saying, but I was so happy. So I once or twice used a passing name and felt very ashamed of myself. I did, but it was easier for the moment. And then I was in Jerusalem at the Malcha Mall when it was not first built, but soon after, and Cafe Aroma, great coffee place. You know. I hope you know. If not, go to Israel just for Aroma. It will strengthen your Zionism. And the barista says, Ich korim lecha, what's your name? I said, Menachem. She said, Ma ta'otzeh, what do you want? I said, Cafe Afuch, which no one says in Israel anymore. They say cappuccino, but it's Cafe Afuch. So she says into the mic for the kitchen behind her, Cafe Afuch le Menachem. And I burst into tears because I don't have to live in translation anymore. It taught me a lot about being proud of my name. Since the 7th, I haven't been less proud. I've been more proud of how we show up. The Federation's brought, I think it was 1 out of every 12 Jews in the world was in Washington, D.C. to rally for our people. But there are moments where I still feel the impact of this change, this hard change that we're all going through. So, in advance of this talk that my teacher, my friend, invited me to share with all of you, I went to get a haircut. Friday. I had already written what I was going to say. Wanted to look nice. I didn't have an appointment, walked in, new guy's going to do my hair, and he says, "What's your name?" Just for a second, I hesitated. He had an accent. I didn't know where it was from. I'm not judging him for having an accent, but I did quiver for a second. Just, epigenetic trauma is a real thing. It's in there somewhere, even when I'm not aware. And I said, Menachem. And I'm going to really butcher his accent. I'll tell you where he's from later. He said, Menachem, that's an Arabic name, right? I said, no, it's Hebrew. And he says, Hebrew! I was a refugee, and Hebrew helped me get here, resettled me. Now, he's Venezuelan. I can't possibly do the accent right. He said, Hebrew, H-I-A-S, Hebrew. Hebrew Immigrant Aid Society. And I looked him in the eyes and I said, me too. 4 generations ago. If I hadn't said my Hebrew name, I never would have known how proud I should be. And how grateful he was. And then how grateful I was for how grateful he was. Which is how grateful I was. Because it's a good thing to pay forward, and it equips us to move forward in the world, not only with that gratitude, which is its own value, but gratitude is a motivator. And we could all use a little bit of motivation. So I would encourage you just for a second. You should feel my gratitude for your commitment to this community. This community helps. It helps Am Yisrael, it helps Medidat Yisrael, it helps the world. And you should feel proud of yourself. You should say your names with pride. If you have an English name, choose the Hebrew one for a second. Say it with pride in your own heart. If you're feeling like the world is burdensome, and it is, sit up straight anyway. Be proud of yourself. Go into the Chagim like a lion. We are told in the beginning of the Code of Jewish Law, most people don't know this, the Jewish law begins with the command how to wake up. Yitgaber Adam Ka'ari Baboker. A person should get up like a lion in the morning, which involves a whole lot of stretching and yawning if you've watched lions, but it also means equipped to move through the world. So I want to bless you. I want to bless me. We are a week or so away from the beginning of our year. It should be a better year than you expect. It should be a year of health and of safety for you and your family, for our people and for the world. People should learn kindness again. That should affect you in all the best of ways. And we should practice this gorgeous value of Hakarat Tov, because there is no question that gratitude is a force for good. Another way of saying that is, look how amazing our work in the world is as a community. We are a force for good. How grateful we should be. Because we are Ebru. It's a good thing to be. It's nice to be told it, but it's really important to know it. Shana Tova.
Thank you, folks. Thank you, Menachem Mensch. I like that one. That's pretty good. So, any comments, questions? Okay, Rabbi Creditor will be here a little bit. I also invite you to purchase a copy of his book. Tell me about the October 7th book, the title?
Am Yisrael Chai is the one I would encourage.
Am Yisrael, Am Yisrael Chai. It really will add meaning to Yamim Noraim, to Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur. It will also add meaning to our commemoration of October 7th. It's a little book, has some really powerful stories on Amazon, easy to buy. I encourage you to do it. Without further ado, our president, Pauline. Sorry, Pauline. We have to close the meeting. Anyone? Sharon. Make a motion to close the meeting. Second. Same people. Any comments? Great. All those who are in favor of closing this part of the morning, please raise your hands. Great. Opposed? Abstentions? The meeting is closed. We now turn to Pauline Zimmerman and our annual campaign.
Thank you, Paul. Thank you, Rabbi. That was a wonderful, wonderful speech. Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Thank you all for being here today. It's a beautiful day. I'm sure you could have done other things, but thank you for being here. As you heard earlier from Roy Walzer, our grants chairperson, along with his grants committee, the Federation has been able to assist so many people both locally and internationally because of the generosity of all of you in this room with us today and so many others in our community who are not here. Our 2024 campaign goal was set at $120,000. We prayed we'd make that. But because of you all, we're so pleased to announce that we were able to close our book at the end of the fiscal year at $180,000. Yay, I think we deserve that. I'm blessed to talk about campaign, but I also have to do some hard lifting here. I would ask that you consider donating again this year. For those who are able, maybe increase it by a few percentage points. There's also other ways to do it in terms of leaving stocks, giving stocks, and remembering us in your estate planning. That's the hard part to ask. Because of all you, there are so many ways that empower the decisions we make. Thank you. And now I'd like to introduce Eric Albert, who's also here with his sister-in-law, Rachel. Eric is the son of Bert and Sylvia Albert of blessed memory, for whom the Habonim Awards were created. Rachel is their beloved daughter-in-law. So thank you, Eric. Thank you.
Thank you. I just have water. I have a little bit of getting over a little cold here. Good morning, everyone. Bruchim Habayim. It's my honor and privilege to represent the family and be able to lead this part of the gathering. Thank you also to Rabbi Polikoff for the kind words regarding our parents, who both were very special people. And to the rabbi's words this morning, I feel incredibly grateful and feel an incredible amount of gratitude as to how important in the lessons that we learned from our parents about the importance of both Tikkun Olam and Kol Yisrael Arevim Zeh Bazeh, which really means that we are all, if Israel is responsible for one another. The Habonim Award is in memory, again, of our parents, and it highlights leaders in the Jewish communities that are within the catchment area of our Jewish Federation. My parents, Sylvia and Bert, were both deeply dedicated to the nurturing and strengthening of our local community, both Jewish and non-Jewish, and also to Israel. Today we present a video about each honoree created by one of their friends and supporters. I would ask each honoree to then come up after the video, and I'll present with our executive director, Paul, the gift from Jewish Federation. This year, our gift is a beautiful tzedakah box, personalized for each of you. And of course, we'll take a quick photo. We are excited to have this year 6 special honorees from Danbury to Waterbury and Southbury to Washington Depot. We may be geographically a much bigger size than New York City, where the rabbi works, but there are a lot of Jews hidden out there in the woods, and we are grateful for all that you do in helping to make our greater Jewish community strong. So thank you in advance. Our first honorees are Annette Schneider and Lori Boxer from Sisterhood of UJC in Danbury.
Shalom all. I am Cantor Lila Sugarman, and I am the Cantor and Sole Spiritual Leader of United Jewish Center.
Shalom. I am Daryl Bain, the Director of Education at the United Jewish Center.
We are so grateful for the opportunity to honor 2 of our longtime members and dedicated volunteers, Annette Schneider and Lori Boxer, for their service to the UJC and the Jewish community. Your longtime service as Sisterhood presidents has brought so much connection and joy and community to our UJC family. Through your dedication, we have revived the Sisterhood and now have a monthly Rosh Chodesh and a yearly Women's Seder again.
So sorry I can't be there today. This honor is well earned. Thank you for always saying yes and for always allowing me to just volunteer you whenever needed. We truly appreciate Sisterhood's support of our school and synagogue. From pizza in the hut, to the VIP breakfast, to family days, you make our religious school programs both organized and joyful. Mazel tov.
Take a picture.
third honoree is Barbara Levitt. Her husband Joel is here representing her, the family, and B'nai Israel Danbury. May her memory be for a blessing. Joel.
First, I'd like to thank Rabbi Neville for nominating Barbara and the Jewish Federation for this wonderful award in her memory. My late wife, Barbara, was a dynamo. If she saw something in the community, whether Jewish or general, that was lacking, she rushed in to fill it. There was no Jewish summer camp for children. Barbara co-founded one. There was no PJ library in Western Connecticut. Barbara raised the money to create one. There was no program combating anti-Semitism or prejudice in the schools and community. Barbara was the co-founder of World of Difference, a wonderful ADL-sponsored program. Barbara had a passion for three things. First, her family, and grandchildren, don't ask about that, of course. Also, for the community that she served for 45 years. And thirdly, for telling people that she was from Brooklyn. Of course, you could tell from the accent, no secret there. Barbara lit candles wherever she went, and she left a beautiful legacy. Thank you.
Our next honoree is a long-term friend of mine, Rabbi Yehuda Brescher, the long-standing principal of Yeshiva Katana in Waterbury. Rabbi? Thank you.
I don't know anyone who's more deserving of the Habonim Award here in Connecticut, here in our city in Waterbury. Rabbi Yehuda Brescher, our beloved Manal, our principal, came to the community in 2000, started the community, pioneered the community with his bare hands, and he's still building today, more than 25 years later. And Bezrat Hashem, I want that we should all together, the Federation, the Jewish community in Waterbury, the whole Am Yisrael, to continue to build, spread the light that we have, and Bezrat Hashem, we should all have a Kasiva v'Chasima Tova and a happy, healthy New Year.
Rabbi, we were young.
Thank you.
Our next honoree is Kathy Peck Marks from Jewish Coalition for Jewish Life in Washington. And I just have to say one quick thing. I was talking to Susan Haber right before, and I cannot believe it's 30 years since they founded that wonderful organization and still going today. So congratulations.
Hi, my name is Rabbi James Green. I have the pleasure of serving as the rabbi of the Greater Washington Coalition for Jewish Life. And I'm here to tell you a little bit about Kathy Marks, a builder in our community. Kathy is someone who notices the small details, who thrives on building community, and is someone who shows up in a myriad of ways for the coalition. She's a talented artist. When our community came back together to celebrate Passover for the first time during the pandemic, Kathy wanted it to be special. She handmade glass Seder plates for our community to use. She's a gifted event coordinator. As a volunteer community, Kathy leads and steps up to organize, supporting holiday and social gatherings for the coalition. Kathy is a community member who shares her story. She shared a video during Yom HaShoah of a journey that she took with her beloved to Europe, returning as a survivor to a concentration camp where he was imprisoned during the Shoah. In all of these ways and in so many more, she has become a community builder and someone who makes our community stronger, more beautiful, and more resilient.
Kathy's also the first person so far to receive this award twice from two different communities. So everybody here can aspire to that one day.
And our last honoree this morning is the man that does it all, and today making the AV work again for all of us, Stephen Reps from B'nai Israel. Yeah.
Amongst years of accomplishment at B'nai Israel, Stephen Reps has been president of B'nai Israel and president of the LLC. He's also currently a synagogue trustee and an LLC board member, as well as our tech maven extraordinaire, broadcasting events, a lifeline to many, succeeds because of his skill and dedication.
Never one to rest on his laurels, he's led the effort to move our congregation onto Shul Cloud and simultaneously revamp our website. He possesses a dry sense of humor and a warm heart. He makes meals to bring to congregants. He's a consummate mensch, a dear friend, a true treasure. Yesher Koach, Stephen.
Yesher Koach, Stephen.
Yesher Koach, Stephen.
Hi, Steve. Yeser Koach. Thank you for being so amazing.
Hi, Stephen. Congratulations on your Habanim Award. I want to let you know that I count myself very fortunate to have you as a neighbor and a friend, and I count our community so very fortunate for all that you do, for your leadership and your enormous contribution. So thank you, and Yesher Koach, and congratulations once again.
Yesher Koach.
Yesher Koach, Stephen.
Yesher Koach, Steve. We are all thankful for and really impressed by your tech expertise.
Yesher Koach, Stephen.
Yishar Koach, Stephen.
Yesher Koach, Stephen.
Yesher Koach, Stephen. Thank you.
We couldn't have done this today without him. Kol HaKavod to all the honorees. It is your collective efforts that help make our Jewish community strong. So, Toda Rabah, thank you very much, and we'll move on. Paul, thank you.
Some of you have heard me say this before. When I started working last July, a year ago, it took me about 4 or 5 months to realize that Steve was not on payroll because he just did everything and does everything with a full and warm heart. So it's great to know all of our honorees. We continue now with Rabbi Rhonda Neville reciting the prayer for the hostages. I'm going to ask you to please rise.
Mi sheberach avotenu Abraham, Yitzchak, Yaakov, Sarah, Rivka, Rachel, Leah. Hu yivarech et chayalei tzva hagana liYisrael haomdim al mishmar atzenu v'yarei Eloheinu migvul Lebanon v'ad midbar Mitzrayim u'min hayam hagadol ad lavo ha'arava u'v'chol makom shehem v'yabasha v'avir u'bayam. May the Holy One, who blessed Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Sarah, Rebecca, Rachel, and Leah, bless the soldiers of the Israel Defense Forces who stand guard over our land and the cities of our God, from the Lebanese border to the Egyptian desert, from the Mediterranean Sea to the approach of the Arabah, and wherever else they are, on land, in air, and at sea. And help the soldiers return those who are missing and in captivity, as we all pray for them. May the Holy One have compassion on them, bring them out from the darkness and the shadow of death. And may God break their bonds, deliver them from their distress, and bring them swiftly back to their families and friends' embrace. And may this verse be fulfilled in them. Those who redeemed by God will return, and they will enter Zion with singing, and everlasting joy will crown their heads. Gladness and joy will overtake them, and sorrow and sighing will flee away. As it is written, Zion will be redeemed through justice, and those among her who return through righteousness. Let us say, Amen.
Please be seated. I remind you again, after our session is over, there's going to be a workshop that Michael Shambron is going to be giving about 15 minutes after we conclude. We now have some closing remarks from our president, Pauline Zimmerman, and then we'll rise for Hatikvah.
Congratulations to all the awardees. What a beautiful, beautiful thing to see everyone. I'd like to take this moment to thank the people who make the Federation run so well. The board members, Rachel Albert, Eric Albert, Lisa Miller, Matt Magida, Roy Walzer, and Chaim Gortzman, who could not be with us today as he's doing some training. Also, our staff, Director Paul Resnick, Pam Perkins, Jose Ruiz, and Lev Kropsky, and Maria Cruz from the LLC. As always, it's so wonderful to be here with you, and we thank you again. We wish you all meaningful holidays, and if you would please just stand and join us in singing Hatikvah. Thank you.
Rooted in the word Hatikvah, hope is keva, braiding or coming together. And in coming together and our gratitude for being here together, we create and hopefully bring forth more hope. Please join me. Kol od baleva panima nefesh Yehudi homia ufatem Yisra kadima ayin letzion Sophia Olav Hatikvatenu Hatikvah matnot abayim liotam choshi be'atzenu Eretz Zion Yerushalayim liotam choshi be'atzenu Artseinu Eretz Zion Yerushalayim. Beautiful morning.
Nothing is great.
I was going to say we need to end with a chesed, but I thought it was going to...
That would have been maybe a little...